Hi. Today I'm going to take apart this digital piano that I found in the trash and try to figure out why it's making these strange noises. It makes regular noises like a piano. That's normal. But then when I get up to these keys, it's like all the way up to 100%. So I think I can figure that out. See, you press very lightly. No matter how gently I touch, it's like that. But also, listen to this. It starts over every eighth key. So weird. I'm hoping that those are simple problems. And if they are not simple problems, I'm going to throw this away because of the previous problem that it was in the trash and it really has a strange aroma. It's like bubble gum and ketchup, but strong. Right now it smells like bubblegum, ketchup, and Febreze because I've been dousing it with Febreze to try to get this scent out. And that's why it's in the garage and not in my house. So let's just open it up and find out what's inside, and maybe I can fix it, maybe I can't. Let's find out. Just to give you a close-up view of what's going on. Oh, that's dust because I've been sawing things in here. This is a Rodgers C100, which apparently is just a rebranded Roland digital piano. Like Rodgers is a bona fide like organ company. Here's a little picture of it here on the screen. See, they make these organs, and this was maybe Roland made this. This is released in the early 90s. Maybe they just decided they wanted to get into the digital piano. And look, there's a little port for a 3.5 floppy disk. I think that's what that is. I haven't read the manual yet, but it's got all this stuff in the back. And there's the badge, or whatever they call it. Can you read that? Just barely. Yeah, so currently, I'm not seeing any visible screws on the top. So I bet they're all on the bottom. So I'm going to flip this over and see what I can do. Wait a minute. Look at this. There's hinges. So there is a way to get in there. But how? How do you get in? Maybe it's got to come up somehow. Something's happening. Oh, look, there it is. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. Okay. All right then. Look at that. It's like they wanted us to fix it or something. Super cool. Wow. Oh look, there's even, I didn't realize there was there were tweeters. And then the woofers are pointing down. So what I think I'm going to have to do is take these keys off to find out what's underneath, because there's these little pressure pads. There's the key right there, and it goes through a slot on the top. And it's wedged in there on the bottom. So, yeah, maybe you can even see the pad that it's supposed to be sitting on. See that little... See that little pad right there? That's the thing that it makes the contact that causes the sound. So my aim is to get at that. Unhook it somehow. Go, look at that. Comes right out. There's a little weight right there. See that? It's just a little piece of metal. And there's the thingamajiggy. So, oh yeah, and look at this. These are all labeled. G11. That's the last one on the thing. So that one way down there is going to be what? A0 maybe? We'll see. Because I'm going to take off all of these and clean them up. See what I can do. So I guess I don't have to worry about making sure they're in the right order because they're all numbered. Kinda. Right. All right. I've taken off all the keys and I put them over here in order. And you know, did I mention that I'm not a piano player? Look, there's that G11 back there. And then it goes GF13, G12, D12, CF12, E, B. They don't seem to be in any stinking order. Except these, the black ones are. You can't see the reflection very well. But the black ones are labeled, see, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4. Those are in order. But these I don't understand. So maybe I'll do some research just because I'm curious. Why? Why are they like that? Because this one's not 0. This one just goes back to the... can you see it? E11, G12. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. This is the order they came off in, too. I was very, very meticulous because you know, obviously I don't know. But look, I plugged it in, and these little guys, these are the little... Whoop. underneath here, get up, get up. I have to pry it up. But underneath there, there's two little carbon dots and two little contacts, and it depends on which dot hits first. Like it measures the time between the time dot 1 hits and dot 2 hits to tell how high the volume is. So see, I'm not doing it right because my finger is not a key, but these are the ones. These are the ones that don't work at all. Those are the ones that were high volume, I think. Yeah. Those are the ones. So, and then it starts down here. So it's that section there. And look, I'm going to go around. These come in sections. See, this runs here and then stops. So there's, well, how many is that? 12? No, more than 12. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So there's 20 in a section. And then nothing. And then it starts back over. And that's right in the middle. So I'm going to pry. Oh, wait a minute. That's right there. I was hoping that one section was out, but it's not. It's the last 4 of that section and the first 4 of this section. So, interesting. I'm gonna put this on a tripod so we can look at it closer. Oops, I ripped it off. There, that one came off. That stuck in there. Sorry, buddy. So it's these that are the problem. And if you look closely, you'll see that one is offset from the other. There's probably a distance of just an eensy beensy bit, like maybe 0.5 millimeter. And that reads on see that little carbon dot makes contact between these two traces, and that carbon dot makes contact between these two traces, and the circuitry in there reads the time between and measures, and that's how it instructs the oscillators. You know what? I bet those things there are oscillators. I bet those are the oscillators right there. And there's some other circuit that measures the velocity, or what we call velocity. And really, it's just time between these. Boom, 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 boom. If you hit it really hard, they hit at more or less the same time. They hit very softly because the key is on a lever. One hits first, right? So what I think is I'm going to do, I'm just going to clean off these contacts with some isopropyl alcohol. Let's see. I just turned it on. Let's see if it makes a noise. Does not make a noise. Well, that's not encouraging. It's not making a noise. Okay, I buckled under and I downloaded the service manual for this. Obviously, it's the service manual for the Roland KR55, and I should have known it first. Here, the Roland name is printed all over this thing. Look. Roland there. Roland there. And actually, looking at the manual, these are ROM chips. So these are that's the memory, the read-only memory that holds presets like the piano sound and the clavinet sound and all the buttons you use. So that's what that is. And it tells me, there's a diagram for all this circuitry. But better than that is the troubleshooting diagram, so that you ask it very simple questions. If it's yes, you go down. If it's no, go over. Or if it's yes, it's that way. No, yes, no, yes. So I've been looking at it, and I worked my way down to the question: pushed key recognized. And I'd say no, it's not. So it says it's probably the associated components IC1. So IC1, according to this, is just what I expected. It's the chip that scans these keys to find out which one has been pushed. And back here in the description of all this stuff, we will see that. And actually, funnily enough, it also shows me how to take the keys off. So I could have saved myself a little bit of trouble. Look, here's a description. Here's a diagram of these very things here. These little pads. There they are. And this is the schematic about how they connect to the chip. And these are the little legs of the chip, diagrammed schematically. There's an actual picture of it over here. Look, there's a picture of it. There's the ROMs, And IC1 is on here somewhere. I located it earlier. But this is the main board, and this is where IC1 is located. I found it, and I mean, it's getting to the point where I need to get my oscilloscope out and learn how to use it to diagnose if there's signals coming from here to the board and from the board to other places. There's actually a diagram showing the path of the signals. Let me see if I can find that. That's kind of interesting too, just a block diagram. That's what it is. So let's zoom in on this block diagram. And you can see it starts here at the keyboard. Well, actually, it starts at the power supply, wherever that is. But from the user's point of view, it starts here at the keyboard, and it goes down to IC1, which is the key scan. And that speaks to this CPU, which I believe, that little guy right there. And the CPU connects to all this other stuff, to the jacks, and where else? Oh, well, all the way down to all these others. ICs. The PCM card. The PCM card is up there. And it makes its way to the speakers. There's the power supply. So anyways, this is it's interesting to look at this stuff. I should have looked at it in the very beginning. But looking through this, there is a way to reset the factory reset is what we want to do. So I'm going to do that just to see if I can. Just to see if I can. The instructions say hold down the MIDI key. Where is that? The MIDI. And the card button. Where's that? The card button's over here. And then hold down the variation up and down buttons. Where are those? So hold down this, press the card, and then do the variation buttons. Where are those? Is this where this... oh, there they are. Way over there. Okay. Can you see? Can you see it all? We'll see what we can do. Hold down, press, hold down these buttons for 5 seconds. 3, 4, 5. Nothing happened. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Oh my goodness, I did it. I reset. Look, did you hear that? It starts all the way down here. Okay, now I'm still having the problem with these little guys not touching. So that's still a problem. I don't know what I did. Well, just out of curiosity, I'm going to church the flute. Oh, cool. What about organ flute? Nice. Trumpet. Brass. Well, this is very pretty. Something very weird. Oh, the vibrato's on. Vibrato off. Go off, vibrato. Goodness gracious. All right. Yeah, these buttons are stuck. Vibrato's stuck on. I don't like it. And this button, A piano, is button's missing. Look at that. See? That button is a button. That button is a void. Well, some mysteries explained and some remain. Well, I've been messing with this for about an hour, and I think that's about as much of my brain that I want to give this project. These just have never recovered. I stuck them back down, except for this little guy that I ripped out earlier. But it stops there. These are empty. That grudgingly gives out a sound, but then nothing. So it's these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's these 8. And it's either a mechanical thing with these traces going up into that little chip, or it's a problem with the chip. I've consulted our friend ChatGPT, and that application has offered me no wisdom. It just says clean the board. Or other things that don't make any sense. So this board looks really darn clean, doesn't it? Doesn't it look clean? I don't think there's any schmutz in there. So I don't know. If I was feeling spunky, I might take this off and free up these sticky buttons, so that I could play all the keys except for those 4. And that might be okay. But this is a large, heavy object that I actually don't have room for in my house. So I'm thinking I might just take parts off of it that I do want. I collect speakers. And I have a collection of transformers too. So this would be nice too, to have this hefty heat sink. So, I'm going to think about it momentarily. You will know my thoughts. But I'm going to think about it overnight. I'm going to sleep on it. And then I'll come back and do a report. Okay, it's the next day, and you probably have already guessed from the tone of my voice that I've decided to get rid of this because it's actually not worth it, and it's still so stinky. The particle board here is to blame. And I don't know if I could ever actually get those buttons unstuck. But the consensus, if you're interested, is that there's either a cracked trace leading from these buttons to the board, or there's a problem with connections. So when I say trace, I mean, see this little faint line here? That is a little like a flattened copper wire on this board that travels over here to here, and it connects to this ribbon cable, which goes under. You see it there? Goes and back to there, and it goes to this board here, where the signals get processed. And also, I didn't realize, after consulting a friend who concurred that it's probably a cracked or very dirty trace that I'm not willing to try to investigate. But also, this little guy right here, it's a little sensor that is designed. Remember that little metal thing on the bottom? It senses how close that is. So this is also part of the velocity system. So each one of these has a little trace. See? And they go over here to this. And those two signals combined are combined in this circuitry here to trigger the sounds that are being held in this one of these chips. So it's probably something to do with that. But I'm not willing to get rid of it. I mean, I'm willing to get rid of it because I'm not willing to fix it all up just to have a giant stinky digital piano. I much prefer my synthesizers that I can program or approximate the sound of a clarinet or piano or whatever, or at least have the potential to create my own sounds, whereas this just has set sounds. Even though I really did like those weighted keys and the big sound that came out of it. Anyway, this is going back to the dumpster in which I found it. Actually, it's not going to go back to the dumpster in which I found it because this is all electronic circuitry that should not go into a dumpster. It should go to electronic waste. So I'm going to take out all these boards and take them to the electronic waste shop near my house and pay them to dispose of it. So that's my fee. That's the fee I have to pay for trying to fix something in the trash. If anyone's interested, there's one more thing to take care of, and that is looking at the little codes that are printed on the backs of these keys. See, this one says G12. It's not printed, it's actually debossed. And that's the same with all the white ones. It's a letter and a number. And all the black ones have just a simple numeric code. There we go, 2-4. And when I pulled all these off, the black ones were in order. 2-4 came right off with right next to 2-3, 2, 1, 2-4, 3, 2, 1, all the way down. Very easy. And that made sense. And because obviously these are interchangeable, they're all more or less the same, right? But these are all different. Well, not all different, but there's different styles of keys. This one has a little notch on this side and a smaller one on that side. This one has the opposite, right? And this one doesn't have. This one only has one big notch. So they all have to. They've all been molded in the factory, and then these numbers tell, I guess, I don't know, humans where to put these when they get them on the key bed. So you would think that it would just go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way up the row. No. This is the way it goes. This is how I've written it down. The E is the lowest note, and the G is the highest note. But look, they're all. They just have these. This is a little off because I dropped these lowest keys on the floor. But I've rearranged them, as you see. I'm going to read this off from my printout because I had to go look on the internet anyway to learn this. But the letter obviously represents the musical note. And then the number next to it, like 11 or 14, is Roland's way of designating the key family or the position group within the keyboard range. So they use like a small set of mold shapes repeatedly across the octaves, but there's slight differences, like there's guide tabs and spring geometry in the weights. They occur in certain spans. So the number tells the production service which, what they call a variant set, that note belongs to. So G11 and G14 will both be G keys, but from different position groups along the keyboard. So that is why all these numbers and letters look so confusing, because they're not actually referring exactly to the way we play the piano. They refer to the way those people assemble the piano. I'm going to break in here. Instead of talking about the black keys, I'm going to talk about the white keys. And here are the actual codes that are printed on the back of the keys. I'm also going to publish this document in a post, so you can look at it in more detail later. I don't know. So that's the story of the keys. Just so you know. But you know what? These keys are never going to be washed, because I took that piano to the recycling center today. And I heard myself talking about how much I actually enjoy making sounds from scratch. And so what I'm going to do now for the last few minutes of this video is go to my Roland System 8 and craft some sounds for fun, because that's what makes me feel happy.